In a world cluttered with information, where truth is power, Lawin Weekly News stands apart.
We delve deeper, uncover facts, and bring stories to light. From political showdowns and economic triumphs to the pulse of the street and the heart of the community.
We capture the moments that define us, stories that challenge, inspire, and transform.
Tune in live Sundays 8 a.m. Central Standard Time and Sundays 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
These are Lawin headlines for this week. Texas enforces English language requirement for truck drivers. Texas Senate approves transgender bathroom ban. Bill awaits governor's signature. Former Houston Rodeo Council rejects plea bargain in online solicitation case. Medical examiner rules man's death during Harris County Jail escorted a homicide. Mass detentions at Hyundai manufacturing site in Georgia. ICC registers more applicants in Duterte's crimes against humanity case. Manny Pacquiao sets sights on WBA titleholder Rolly Romero.
Good day, I'm Krisha.
And good day, I am Jewel.
And tonight we bring you the latest stories in the United States of America.
Especially in the state of Texas.
So sit back, relax, and let Lawin Weekly News be your guide to the news that matters most.
Texas is now enforcing a strict English-only requirement for truck drivers. Governor Greg Abbott says the rule is essential for safety, requiring all commercial drivers on Texas roads to demonstrate English proficiency, no exceptions. The Department of Public Safety has already cited nearly 450 drivers since June, many licensed in Mexico, for failing to meet the standard. Abbott added that interstate licenses will no longer be issued to non-English speaking drivers, though testing methods are still being finalized. The Texas Trucking Association supports the move, saying drivers must be able to read signs, weather alerts, and safety warnings. But critics warn it could worsen the nationwide truck driver shortage. The crackdown follows a fatal crash in Florida, where a driver's inability to read English signs played a role. The U.S. Department of Transportation is pushing all states to enforce the same rule, with threats of funding cuts for those that don't comply. For now, Texas is leading the charge, sparking debate over how to balance road safety with the trucking industry's urgent labor needs.
In Texas, the state Senate has approved a controversial bill that would bar transgender individuals from using public restrooms and other private spaces that match their gender identity. The measure now heads to Governor Greg Abbott's desk for his signature. The bill, known as Senate Bill 8, passed along party lines with an 18-8 vote authored by Republican Senator Mace Middleton of Galveston. The legislation prohibits cities, counties, school districts, and even universities from adopting policies that would allow transgender people to access facilities consistent with their identity. It also applies to state agencies and correctional facilities. A recent House amendment added steep penalties of $25,000 for the first violation and up to $125,000 for repeat offenses, though individual Texans would not face fines. Supporters say the bill is necessary to protect women and girls in transgender in bathrooms and locker rooms. Opponents, including Democrats, argue that it is discriminatory and point out that no documented cases exist of transgender individuals committing assaults in such spaces. The measure fulfills a long-sought goal of Texas conservatives after a similar proposal failed in 2017. With Governor Abbott expected to sign it, Texas is on the verge of enacting one of the strictest bathroom bans in the country.
A former top attorney for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is headed to trial after rejecting a plea deal in an online solicitation case. Jeffrey Neal Downing, the rodeo's former general counsel, appeared in a Houston courtroom Thursday. Prosecutors say the 46-year-old was caught in Harris County undercover sting operation last year. Investigators allege Downing believed he was communicating with a 15-year-old girl online, sending explicit messages, requesting photos, and even transmitting sexual images. The teen, however, was an undercover constable. Downing was arrested in May 2024. His original $50,000 bond was revoked following a violation and later reset at $80,000, which he posted in March of this year. The Harris County District Attorney's Office confirmed Downing has declined a plea bargain and will face trial on December 12, 2025. Downing, a practicing Houston attorney, joined the rodeo in 2022 where he handled logistics for the massive annual event. The organization placed him on leave following his arrest and later confirmed he was no longer employed. The case has drawn wide attention given Downing's high-profile role with rodeo, one of Houston's largest cultural events. As proceedings move forward, prosecutors stress the case underscores the importance of aggressive online stings designed to protect minors from exploitation.
In Houston, the Harris County medical examiner has ruled the death of a man during his release from jail as a homicide. Authorities say 33-year-old Alexis Giovanni Cardenas died on July 8th following a violent altercation with detention officers at the Harris County Jail. Surveillance video shows Cardenas struggling with several officers as he was being escorted out. At one point, a taser was used, and multiple officers pinned him down for nearly 8 minutes. Moments later, they realized he was unresponsive. Cardenas was rushed to St. Joseph Hospital where he was pronounced dead, and the medical examiner listed cardiac dysrhythmia as the cause with drug use and the physical and electrical restraint contributing to his death. In response, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez reassigned one surgeon and 6 detention officers to duties without inmate contact, pending the investigation. The Texas Rangers and the Sheriff's Office are both reviewing the case. Cardenas' family has called for the officers involved to face charges, but so far no decisions have been announced. The case has raised questions about how the jail handles inmates during release and whether proper procedures were followed.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories, from elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits. I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
Journey to self-discovery and mastery. Be bold, why not? Season 6 with MJ Concepcion every Monday 8 p.m. CST. Don't miss out.
Where every conversation is welcome at the table. This is Pink Table Talk with Dr. Carly D. Every Wednesday 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Rice, spice, and everything nice. Welcome to the Philippine food scene with Adobo Queen, Nancy Reyes Lumen of Commissary Kitchen. Every Thursday 8 p.m. CST, Friday 9 a.m. Philippine time.
In Austin, the city's largest school district is weighing major changes after a wave of failing state ratings. The Austin Independent School District has notified parents that 12 schools could be closed after receiving a third consecutive F rating. District leaders say another option on this table is a restart approach, keeping campuses open but replacing much of the teaching staff. Superintendent Matthew Segura says 11 in additional schools must scrap turnaround plans after a second failing grade, while 9 others face targeted improvement plans. This comes as AIST already began disrupted restarts at Burnett, Dobie, and Webb middle schools, which each received a 4th F in office. Most teachers there will not return next year unless they've shown proof in student growth. The review also ties into district's effort to cut costs and address a $19 million deficit. The school board will take up consolidation and turnaround proposal in October, with votes set up for November 9th and the 20th. Under Texas law, schools Schools with 5 straight F ratings can face state takeover, including the replacement of local leadership. Seguro says the district's goal is to strengthen support for struggling campuses and avoid that outcome. Meetings with staff at the 12 failing schools are scheduled this week.
In Dallas, a judge is voicing strong frustration over repeated delays in the retrial of Randy Halprin, one of the infamous Texas 7 escapees. Halprin was sentenced to death for his role in the 2000 killing of Irving police officer Aubrey Hawkins, but his conviction was overturned last year after it was revealed that the original trial judge made anti-Semitic comments. His scheduled execution was halted back in 2019. Now Judge Mays is pushing to move the retrial forward, criticizing prosecutors for pausing the sharing of evidence with the defense for 4 months. Prosecutors argued that the pause came after they filed a request to disqualify one of Halprin's defense attorneys and believe a stay was in effect. Halprin appeared in court in a blue suit rather than a jail uniform, as the court attempted to set dates for jury selection in a new trial. The case remains stalled, with unresolved disputes over legal representation and scheduling more than 5 years after Halprin's execution was first halted.
San Antonio drivers could soon see higher fines for parking violations. As part of its proposed 2026 fiscal year budget, the city is planning to raise fines for the 10 most common parking violations by $20 each. That would bring penalties to anywhere from $47 up to $247, depending on the violation. For example, parking meter fines would jump from $27 to $47, while parking in a no parking zone could increase from $32 to $52. City officials say these fines haven't been updated since 2009, and the adjustment is meant both to discourage illegal parking and to help close a looming budget deficit. The city estimates that the changes could generate an extra $438,000 in revenue. Officials say the money will go toward essential services and community projects, while the fines themselves are expected to improve compliance and reduce congestion. The proposal still needs final approval, but if passed, the new fines will take effect at the start of the fiscal year.
A major federal enforcement operation at a Hyundai manufacturing site in Georgia has led to the detention of 475 individuals. The action carried out by U.S. government or U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement alongside Homeland Security and the Department of Labor followed investigations into irregularities over employment eligibility. Officials have not confirmed how many of those detained were undocumented workers. The Hyundai site is a cornerstone of Georgia's economy, producing electric vehicles and currently building a new EV battery plant. Local leaders now worry the mass detention could ripple through the state's manufacturing sector, which relies heavily on these facilities for job and economic growth. Hyundai has yet to issue a detailed statement through the company has policies in place for compliance with labor and immigration laws. This large-scale raid comes as part of broader federal crackdown on undocumented employment in high-profile industries. Federal officials say more operations of this kind could follow nationwide. Community groups, meanwhile, are voicing concern for families affected, pressing for legal aid and support services. For now, those detained are now being processed as federal authorities determine the next steps.
Join us for a captivating new series where Lawin sits down with the trailblazers of the music and entertainment world. Discover the stories behind the faces and voices that shape our culture and community.
We will bring you exclusive interviews with industry legends and rising stars. Behind the scenes insights and get a peek into the creative processes and personal journeys. artists and performers and their upcoming shows and events.
Stay tuned for more updates and sneak peeks. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel.
A federal judge in California has ruled that the Trump administration acted illegally in ending temporary protected status, or TPS, for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan and Haitian migrants. U.S. District Judge Edward Chen said Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem exceeded her authority when she moved to revoke protections that provide legal status and work permits to migrants from countries facing dangerous conditions. In his 69-page decision, Judge Chen wrote that Noem's actions were unprecedented in both manner and speed and violation of federal law of agency rulemaking. He added that the move would have forced migrants back to nations so unsafe that even the U.S. State Department warns Americans not to travel there. The Department of Homeland Security criticized the ruling, calling TPS a de facto amnesty program, and vowed to appeal. Congress created TPS in 1990 to protect migrants from countries hit by wars, natural disasters, or other extraordinary crises. Venezuela, with roughly 600,000 beneficiaries, is currently the largest group under the program, followed by Haiti. The Biden administration had previously extended TPS for both countries, but after Trump's return to the office, the Secretary Noem sought to terminate those protections, marking the first time in program history that a sitting administration tried to roll back the TPS granted by predecessors.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has ordered a comprehensive review of all the government agencies' proposed 2026 budgets, following the mounting concerns over questionable allocations. The Department of Public Works and Highways is at the center of the scrutiny, with the president directing lifestyle checks on officials and a closer look at its 700-page budget. Newly appointed Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon is now coordinating with Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman for revisions. But lawmakers say the issue extends beyond DPWH, pointing to the Interior Department's firearms procurement, Agriculture's farm-to-market road projects, and even a Health Department beautification program. Malacanang stresses that all agencies are covered by the directive. Presidential Communications Undersecretary Clara Castro dismissed the speculation that the probe is politically motivated against Vice President Sara Duterte and her allies, calling such claims wild imagination. An executive order is also being finalized to create an independent commission to investigate flood control projects. In the Senate, Senator Panfilo Lacson pushed for a major overhaul of the Contractors Accreditation Board and amid corruption allegations, while Senator Erwin Tulfo insisted that resignations should not shield officials from accountability. Meanwhile, the House is considering sending back portions of the National Expenditure Program to the Budget Department for corrections, though Speaker Martin Romualdez stressed lawmakers will not rewrite the NEP themselves. Despite the controversy, Senate Finance Chair Sherwin Gatchalian assured that the budget process remains on track for passage by year-end.
The International Criminal Court has confirmed more applicants in the Crimes Against Humanity case against former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. According to an August 27 court filing, the ICC has now received 322 applications from individuals seeking recognition as victims of Duterte's anti-drug campaign. 18 of them are applying solely for reparations. while the rest are moving forward for participation in the pre-trial proceedings. For those applications, 35 have already been submitted to pre-trial Chamber 1, divided into groups for review. The applicants include not only those directly killed or harmed but also family members who suffered psychologically and emotional trauma from the drug war. Meanwhile, both prosecution and defense have agreed on a number of basic facts, including the 30's date of birth, birthplace, nationality, and even the definition of a barangay. However, they remain divided on several other points. Duterte, now 80 years old, faced pre-trial proceedings in The Hague back in March, after his arrest and transfer. A confirmation of charges hearing is scheduled for September 23rd. The case covers events between 2011 and 2019, starting from Duterte's time as mayor of Davao City up to the Philippines' withdrawal from Rome Statute. Official data estimates at least 6,000 deaths under the drug war, but human rights groups and ICC prosecutors put the figure much higher, between 12,000 and 30,000. The ICC proceedings continue as victims and families of victims await justice.
The Philippine Consulate General in Houston is informing the public of the resumption of overseas voter registration for Filipinos abroad who wish to participate in the 2028 Philippine national elections. The registration period will run from December 1, 2025 to September 30, 2027. During this time, qualified Filipino citizens overseas are encouraged to register or update their records to ensure their right to vote in the upcoming elections. For inquiries and further assistance, the public may reach out via email at houston.tcg@dfa.gov.ph. This initiative reaffirms the government's commitment to providing Filipinos abroad the accessible avenues to take part in shaping the future of the Philippines through their vote.
Filing taxes, dealing with tax debt, or facing IRS actions is stressful, but you don't have to go it alone. Call 832-674-0829 or visit www.taxresolutionesq.com.
For divorce and family law in Texas, Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC will guide you every step of the way.
From initial consultation to detailed review of your case and strategic planning,
We'll sit with you during negotiations or mediations, and represent you in court.
whether it is a family law, estate planning, or immigration, we will be there to guide through the final steps.
So, leave your legal matters behind you and embrace your future.
You can contact Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC at 346-5454-346 or visit dizonlawfirm.com.
Two of boxing's biggest names are about to collide, though in a fight no one ever thought possible. Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather Jr. have officially agreed to step into the ring for an exhibition bout in the spring of 2026, according to promoter CSI Sports. Tyson, now 59 years old, remains one of the most feared heavyweight in history, with a record of 50 wins, 7 losses, and 44 knockouts. His last appearance was an exhibition against Jake Paul in 2024, where despite showing his age, he still packed a stadium with 70,000 fans and draw millions more online. On the other side is Mayweather, 48 years old, undefeated at 50-0, and a champion in 5 weight classes. Though he retired back in 2017, Mayweather has stayed active with exhibitions, most recently scoring a win over John Gotti III in Mexico in 2024. With two legends from two very different eras meeting in one ring, fans can expect hype, history, and the unexpected when Tyson and Mayweather square off in 2026.
Boxing legend Manny Pacquiao may be 46 years old, but he's not done yet in making history in the ring. His advisor Sean Gibbons has confirmed that Pacquiao is setting his sights on WBA welterweight champion Rolly Romero for his next fight. Gibbons says Pacquiao only wants what he calls meaningful fights at this stage of his career, and Romero, recently evaluated to full champion, fits the bill. Quote, "No barriers at this time. Manny wants Rolly Romero for the WBA title." That's what Gibbons told the World Boxing News. For Romero, who is just 29, but the bout could be the biggest payday of his career, even as he weighs a possible rematch with Ryan Garcia, whom he defeated by a unanimous decision last May. Pacquiao last fought in June against WBC titleist Mario Barrios, battling the younger champion to a hard-fought majority draw. Many observers believe that Pacquiao did enough to win, and he remains ranked number 1 by the WBC. If negotiations push through, a Pacquiao-Romero clash could pit the Filipino icon against a younger reigning champion, exactly the kind of challenge Pacquiao is chasing as he approaches his 47th birthday this December.
Filmmaker James Gunn has officially confirmed the next chapter in DC's new Superman saga. The follow-up to last year's reboot will be titled Superman Man of Tomorrow and is set to hit theaters in July 2027. Gunn made the announcement on social media, sharing artwork from DC legend Jim Lee featuring Superman and Lex Luthor. Stars David Corenswet and Nicholas Hoult are returning as Superman and Lex, while Rachel Brosnahan, Skylar Gazanda, and Wendell Pierce are also expected back alongside members of the Justice Gang. The director emphasized that Man of Tomorrow is not a traditional sequel, but rather a continuation that expands on the world and characteristics introduced in the 2025 Superman film, which has already crossed $600 million globally. The title also shares its name with a 2020 animated Superman film, though Gunn says this will explore entirely new storylines. The DC film slate remains packed. Supergirl is set for release next year, Clayface arrives in 2026, and The Batman Part 2 lands in October 2027, just months after Superman and Man of Tomorrow. Meanwhile, Gunn's Peacemaker Season 2 starring John Cena is already earning strong reviews.
Big news for Kapamilya fans. Maja Salvador is making her much-anticipated primetime comeback. She's set to star in a brand new Dreamscape Entertainment series alongside no less than Catherine Bernardo and James Reid. Dreamscape made the announcement in social media with a teaser video featuring the three-star hinting that, quote, "someone is going to mess with them." The caption read, "Give way, cause the Majesty is back." This marks Salvador's official return to ABS-CBN after her last teleserye, The Killer Bride, in 2019, and her guest appearance in The Ironheart in 2022. Since then, she has appeared in sitcoms on both TV5 and GMA. And as for the new series, details are still under wraps, but Catherine Bernardo has confirmed one thing: her team up with James Reid won't be a love story. Instead, the show will highlight friendship, family, and strong women, with James Reid making his first TV comeback in 9 years. With 3 powerhouse names headlining the project, fans are already calling this one of the most exciting primetime offerings this year. As we brace ourselves for the upcoming weather changes, let's dive into what you can expect day by day. Whether you're planning outdoor activities or just preparing for the week, we've got you covered with the most accurate forecast. Stay tuned with us as we take a closer look at the weather patterns that will impact our region. Remember, here at Lawin Weekly News, we bring you the clear skies to the stormiest forecast.
Here is your Lawin Weekly News weather forecast in Houston, Texas. On September 7th, Sunday, the high is 85 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Expect partly to mostly cloudy skies, with a stray shower or thunderstorm possible. On September 8th, Monday, the high will reach 89 degrees Fahrenheit and dip to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Mostly sunny and dry throughout the day. On September 9th, Tuesday, temperatures will rise to 90 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunny skies continue with minimal chances of rain. On September 10th, Wednesday, the high will be 93 degrees Fahrenheit, dropping to 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Expect a mainly sunny day. On September 11th, Thursday, the high stays at 93 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Mostly clear and warm conditions dominate. On September 12th, Friday, temperatures will climb to 94 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunny and hot weather continues. On September 13th, Saturday, the high will be 94 degrees Fahrenheit and the low 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Expect a mostly clear sky with plenty of sunshine.
So those were the latest stories in Texas this week. I am Krisha De Vera.
And I am Jewel Bacani from Lawin Media Network.
Have a great day.
Lawin Weekly News.
Tune in live Sundays 8 a.m. Central Standard Time and Sundays 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Lawin Weekly News.